let me tell you something right now. Your life will never rise higher than your mindset. You can change jobs, change cities, change relationships. But if you don't change what's going on in your mind, your life will keep producing the same results. The truth is, you don't get what you want. You get what you are prepared for. Your mindset is the invisible boundary that determines how far you can go in life. It's not just a part of who you are, it's the foundation upon which every action, decision, and result is built. You can have incredible talent, immense resources, and countless opportunities. But if your mindset is limited, you will always find a way to shrink those blessings down to the size of your belief. On the other hand, when your mind is set to expand, even small opportunities become the seeds for something great. Your life can only grow as much as your thoughts allow it to. Every dream you've ever had begins in your mind. Before it can take shape in the real world, it has to take root in your thoughts. That means the size of your dream and the belief you have in it directly impacts what you will achieve. A person with a small vision will never build something big because they cannot even see it in their imagination. But when you set your mind on limitless possibilities, your brain starts searching for ways to make it happen. The ceiling isn't out there somewhere, it's in here, inside your head. Think of your mindset like the thermostat in a room. No matter how much heat or cold comes from the outside, the thermostat will adjust to maintain the temperature it's set to. If your mindset is set to average, even if extraordinary opportunities come your way, you will unconsciously bring your actions, expectations, and results back down to average. But if you set it to excellence or abundance, you will rise to meet those standards no matter what's happening around you. A limited mindset creates invisible walls. You may not see them, but you feel them every time you talk yourself out of a challenge or convince yourself that something isn't possible for someone like you. These walls are not made of brick. They are made of fear, doubt, and old beliefs you've accepted as truth. Breaking through them requires the willingness to challenge everything you've been telling yourself. If you've been saying, I can't, change it to, how can I? That single shift in thinking can shatter ceilings that have been holding you down for years. The people you surround yourself with also play a role in setting your mental ceiling. If you're around people who think small, complain constantly, and never push themselves, you will start to lower your own ceiling to match theirs. On the other hand, when you're around people who dream big, take bold action, and refuse to settle, they inspire you to lift your own limits. Your environment will either stretch your thinking or shrink it. And that choice is yours to make. Your ceiling is also influenced by how you handle failure. For some, failure is proof that they've reached their limit, and so they stop trying. For others, failure is simply feedback, a sign to adjust the plan and try again. The difference is mindset. One person sees failure as the end, the other sees it as the beginning of wisdom. If you believe that every setback carries a lesson that can move you forward, then no ceiling can hold you. What you feed your mind every day determines whether your ceiling rises or falls. If you constantly consume negativity, drama, and gossip, you are lowering the quality of your thoughts and limiting your growth. But if you fill your mind with empowering ideas, success stories, and inspiring truths, you are raising your mental ceiling. Just like your body becomes what you feed it, your mind becomes what you expose it to. Your mindset shapes how you see challenges. A low ceiling makes challenges look like walls you cannot climb. A high ceiling makes them look like steps to the next level. When you believe that you can figure things out, even the biggest problems become opportunities in disguise. But if your mindset is locked in limitation, even the smallest obstacles will feel overwhelming. One of the most powerful ways to raise your mental ceiling is to continually set goals that stretch you beyond your comfort zone. Comfort is the enemy of growth. The moment you stop challenging yourself, your ceiling begins to lower because your mind adapts to the smallness of your routine. By constantly pushing yourself to do more, learn more, and be more, you force your mind to expand, and when your mind expands, your life expands with it. In the end, everything in your life, your career, your relationships, your health, your finances, will rise or fall to the level of your mindset. If you want more, you must think more. If you want better, you must believe better. Your ceiling isn't fixed, it's adjustable. And every time you choose to believe bigger, take bolder action, and embrace greater possibilities, you raise that ceiling higher than it's ever been before. Self-investment is the foundation on which every other success in life is built. It is the conscious decision to pour time, effort, and resources into your own growth, knowing that you are the one constant in every situation you face. Markets can change, economies can crash, relationships can shift, but who you are becoming will determine how you respond to all of it. When you prioritize self-investment, you equip yourself with skills, wisdom, and resilience that no one can take away from you. Many people spend their lives investing in external things, cars, clothes, technology, entertainment, but neglect the most important investment of all, themselves. While those other investments can bring temporary satisfaction, they do not create long-term transformation. Self-investment, on the other hand, compounds over time. Every skill you develop, every book you read, every experience you learn from becomes a permanent part of you, increasing your value in every area of life. The beauty of self-investment is that it multiplies your capacity. When you invest in your health, you increase your energy. When you invest in your knowledge, you increase your earning potential. When you invest in your mindset, you increase your ability to navigate challenges. Each area of growth strengthens the others, creating a ripple effect that touches every part of your life. It is the kind of asset that keeps producing returns without an expiration date. Self-investment is also about taking responsibility for your own future. It is the understanding that no one is coming to rescue you and no one else is responsible for building your life. Waiting for someone to give you a breakthrough is a dangerous game. By investing in yourself, you create your own breakthroughs. You stop hoping for luck and start building the skills, relationships, and character that makes success inevitable. Sometimes self-investment requires making sacrifices in the short term for a much bigger return in the long term. It might mean choosing to spend your evenings learning instead of being entertained, saving money to attend a conference instead of buying something you don't need, or getting up early to work on your goals instead of sleeping in. These sacrifices are not losses. They are seeds planted in the soil of your future, seeds that will eventually produce a harvest you can't imagine yet. One of the most overlooked forms of self-investment is protecting your environment. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you engage in, and the information you consume all have a direct impact on your growth. If your environment is toxic or stagnant, it will limit your potential no matter how hard you try. By intentionally creating an environment that challenges and inspires you, you are investing in your own ability to thrive. Self-investment also means caring for your mental and emotional health. A sharp mind trapped in a broken spirit will struggle to create lasting success. Taking the time to rest, reflect, and reset is just as important as pushing yourself to achieve more. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't build a strong life on a foundation of burnout. By investing in your well-being, you give yourself the strength to keep moving forward when others quit. The truth is, your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal growth. If you want to lead a bigger business, you must become a bigger leader. If you want to earn more, you must become the kind of person who can manage more. If you want deeper relationships, you must develop deeper character. The outside world will always be a reflection of the work you have done on the inside. Another important part of self-investment is being willing to pay the price for access to knowledge and experiences you don't currently have. Free information can be valuable, but paid mentorship, coaching, and high-level environments often accelerate your growth in ways that nothing else can. You are not just paying for information, you are paying for transformation, for the perspective and wisdom that comes from those who have already walked the path you're trying to take. When you consistently choose to invest in yourself, you are sending a message to your own mind, I am worth it. That belief changes the way you show up in every situation. You carry yourself with more confidence, you make decisions with more clarity, and you take action with more conviction. Over time, the compound effect of these investments creates a version of you that is more capable, more resourceful, and more unstoppable than you ever imagined. Standards are the invisible lines you draw in your life that determine what you will and will not accept. They define the level of quality, discipline, and effort you bring into everything you do. Whether you realize it or not, your current life is a reflection of the standards you have set. If your standards are high, your results will rise to meet them. If your standards are low, your results will shrink to match them. Standards are not wishes or desires. They are commitments that you enforce without compromise. The truth is, you don't always get what you want in life, but you almost always get what your standards demand. A person may want to be healthy, but if their standard allows skipping workouts and eating whatever is convenient, their health will reflect that standard. Someone may want financial freedom, but if their standard tolerates overspending, procrastination, or lack of skill development, their bank account will reflect that too. Results are simply the mirror showing you the level of your standards. High standards create habits that naturally produce success. When you refuse to settle for mediocrity, you start acting in ways that make excellence inevitable. You become more consistent in your efforts, more intentional with your time, and more disciplined with your actions. The gap between wanting and having closes because your daily behavior aligns with what you say you expect from yourself. Standards take the decision making out of the moment because you've already decided what is and isn't acceptable. Low standards, on the other hand, are dangerous because they allow you to justify poor results. You start accepting less than you're capable of, telling yourself it's good enough or just for now, and before you realize it, those temporary compromises become permanent. Low standards make comfort zones feel safe, but in reality, they are traps that keep you from reaching your full potential. Over time, you stop stretching yourself and start shrinking your life to fit what's easy. Your standards are not just about what you demand from yourself, but also about what you allow from others. If you let people disrespect your time, they will keep doing it. If you accept dishonesty, you will attract it. But when you set clear boundaries and hold them without apology, you teach others how to treat you. The way you allow others to interact with you is often a reflection of the standards you hold for your own self-worth. Rising your standards often requires making uncomfortable changes. You might need to let go of certain habits, environments, or relationships that no longer align with the life you're building. It might mean waking up earlier, working harder, or holding yourself to a higher level of accountability than you ever have before. The discomfort of raising your standards is temporary, but the benefits will follow you for a lifetime. The standards you set also determine how you handle adversity. A person with high standards for perseverance doesn't quit just because things get difficult. They push through because quitting is below their standard. Someone with low standards for resilience will give up the moment it gets hard, telling themselves it wasn't meant to be. The difference between the two isn't luck or talent. It's the level of commitment they have hardwired into their identity through their standards. Your environment plays a significant role in shaping your standards. If you spend time with people who cut corners, avoid responsibility, and settle for less, it becomes easier to lower your own standards without realizing it. But if you surround yourself with people who hold themselves to excellence, you will feel inspired and even challenged to meet or exceed that level. Being in an environment of high standards forces you to grow or get left behind. One powerful way to raise your standards is to stop making excuses for not meeting them. Every time you justify why you couldn't follow through, you reinforce the idea that your standards are negotiable. But when you treat your standards as non-negotiable, you find ways to make them happen even when it's inconvenient. The moment you stop giving yourself an escape route is the moment your results begin to shift. At the end of the day, your standards are the architects of your reality. They silently dictate your choices, your actions, and your habits, all of which lead directly to the results you see. If you want to change your outcomes, you have to start by raising the level of what you demand from yourself and the world around you. When your standards rise, everything else in your life will eventually rise to meet them. Your mind is the control center of your entire life, and what you allow into it will eventually show up in your actions, habits, and results. Every decision you make, every belief you hold, and every step you take is influenced by the thoughts you entertain. That's why you must guard your mind as if it were the most valuable treasure you own. Just as a fortress is built to protect something precious from intruders, you have to build mental walls strong enough to keep out anything that can weaken, corrupt, or distract you from your purpose. Guarding your mind begins with understanding that not every thought is worth entertaining. Your mind is constantly under attack from negativity, fear, doubt, and distractions. These intrusions often come disguised as harmless opinions, news headlines, social media posts, or casual conversations. If you allow them to take root, they will grow into beliefs that shape your reality. The quality of your life will always reflect the quality of the thoughts you protect and nurture. The words you hear every day are seeds, and your mind is the soil. If you let the wrong seeds in, they will sprout into weeds that choke out the growth of everything good you're trying to build. This is why you have to be intentional about what you read, watch, and listen to. If it doesn't feed your purpose, strengthen your confidence, or sharpen your skills, it's probably not worth giving space in your mind. You can't plant negativity and expect to harvest positivity. Guarding your mind also means being careful about the company you keep. People's energy, attitudes, and beliefs are contagious. If you spend enough time around those who constantly complain, doubt themselves, or gossip, You will start thinking and speaking the same way without realizing it. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to think bigger, speak life into your dreams, and remind you of your potential even when you forget it yourself. One of the most effective ways to protect your mind is to set mental boundaries. Just like a fortress has gates to control what comes in and out, you need to have filters for the thoughts and messages you allow to influence you. This could mean limiting your time on social media, avoiding certain conversations, or refusing to engage with anything that pulls you away from your goals. You can't stop the world from throwing negativity at you, but you can stop yourself from letting it in. Guarding your mind also requires constant maintenance. A fortress that isn't maintained will eventually develop cracks that enemies can exploit. In the same way, if you stop paying attention to what you're thinking, small doubts or fears can slip through and begin to grow. This is why daily reflection, prayer, meditation, or journaling is so important. These practices help you inspect your thoughts, identify weaknesses, and reinforce your mental defenses before they are breached. Your internal dialogue plays a critical role in protecting your mind. The way you speak to yourself determines whether your thoughts strengthen you or weaken you. If you constantly criticize yourself, you're tearing down your own fortress from the inside. Replace self-doubt with affirmations of truth and possibility. Speak to yourself in a way that builds confidence, fuels determination, and reminds you of your worth. Guarding your mind isn't just about keeping bad things out. It's also about letting the right things in. Fill your thoughts with wisdom, inspiration, and knowledge that align with the life you want to create. Just as a fortress stores supplies to sustain itself during a siege, your mind should be stocked with positive beliefs and empowering truths that you can draw on during difficult times. When challenges come, you'll have the mental resources to stand strong. Discipline is essential in protecting your mental space. A fortress is only as strong as the soldiers who defend it, and your self-discipline is the soldier of your mind. It's what keeps you from reacting emotionally to every situation, from allowing distractions to pull you off course, and from letting temporary feelings dictate long-term decisions. The stronger your discipline, the stronger your mental protection. In a world full of noise, opinions, and constant demands for your attention, guarding your mind is a daily battle. The more valuable your purpose, the more determined the attacks will be to distract, discourage, or derail you. But the mind you protect today becomes the foundation for the future you will build tomorrow. Every thought you shield from harm and every truth you allow to grow inside you is another brick in the fortress that will keep you strong, focused, and unstoppable. Success is not something you run after blindly. It is something you draw toward yourself by becoming the kind of person who naturally produces it. Chasing success often comes from a place of desperation, focusing on external rewards while neglecting internal growth. Attraction, on the other hand, comes from alignment when your mindset, habits, skills, and values are in sync with the results you want. The moment you focus on becoming more, instead of simply getting more, opportunities start finding their way to you. When people chase success, they often operate with a scarcity mindset. They believe there's not enough to go around, so they rush force and grab at whatever they can. This approach creates anxiety, burns energy, and often leads to poor decisions. But when you attract success, you operate from abundance. You know that the right opportunities will come when you are ready, so your focus stays on preparation rather than panic. You stop chasing after every shiny thing and start building yourself into someone who can recognize and handle the right opportunities. Attraction works was like attracts like. If you want financial success, you need to think, act, and make decisions like someone who is financially successful. If you want meaningful relationships, you need to develop the qualities that make you a great friend or partner. If you want influence, you need to become the type of person who inspires and leads others naturally. Success gravitates toward environments and people that can sustain it. This is why personal growth is at the heart of success attraction. The more you invest in your mindset, skills, and character, the more valuable you become, and value is magnetic. People notice when you carry yourself with confidence, speak with clarity, and back your words with consistent action. Opportunities are drawn to those who are prepared to maximize them. The person you become determines the opportunities you can keep. Chasing success often leads to burnout because it puts the focus on the outcome instead of the process. You keep running toward a moving target, and when you finally reach one goal, another appears just ahead, leaving you feeling like you're never enough. But attraction focuses on building habits, discipline, and resilience that naturally produce results over time. You aren't running after success. You're walking in a way that success can't help but cross your path. When you attract success, you also attract the right kind of success. Not every opportunity that looks good is actually good for you. Chasing often leads to settling for things that aren't aligned with your purpose just because they're available. But attraction filters out the wrong opportunities because they don't match the person you've become. The wrong doors simply don't open, and the right ones open at the right time. A big part of attraction is the energy you project. People can sense confidence, clarity, and authenticity, and they can also sense desperation, confusion, and inconsistency. The energy you put out is the energy you pull back in. When you operate with a sense of purpose, when your actions are intentional, and when your words match your behavior, you create a presence that draws others toward you without you having to beg for attention. Attracting success also requires patience and trust in the process. Seeds don't grow into trees overnight, and the results of your efforts won't always show immediately. The key is to keep building yourself, keep showing up, and keep refining your craft, even when no one is watching. In time, the work you've put in behind the scenes will speak for itself, and success will meet you where you are. The shift from chasing to attracting success is really a shift from doing to being. Doing is about checking boxes, following formulas, and constantly looking for quick wins. Being is about embodying the qualities, values, and vision that naturally lead to success. When you become that person, success is no longer something outside of you. It's a reflection of who you are. Ultimately, attraction is sustainable because it's built on a foundation of authenticity. You don't have to wear a mask or pretend to be someone you're not. You simply keep growing, keep improving, and keep living in alignment with the results you want. Over time, success becomes a natural byproduct of the person you've chosen to become, and it comes to you without you having to exhaust yourself chasing after it. The difference between people who achieve their dreams and those who don't often comes down to one thing. They started. Not when things felt perfect, not when every piece was in place, but when the opportunity was in front of them, even if they felt unprepared. Waiting for the right time is one of the most common ways people sabotage their own progress. The truth is, there will never be a perfect time. Life will always have challenges, distractions, and uncertainties. If you keep waiting for the ideal moment, you'll look up years from now and realize it never came. Starting now is powerful because action creates momentum. The hardest step to take is always the first one, but once you take it, you begin to see new possibilities, gain clarity, and build confidence. The moment you start, you shift from dreaming to doing, from planning to progressing. Even a small step forward puts you ahead of where you were yesterday, and that progress compounds over time. People often delay starting because they believe they need to know everything before they begin. But the truth is, you will learn far more by doing than you ever will by waiting. Experience is the best teacher, and you can't gain experience without action. Every mistake you make teaches you something valuable, and every small success gives you more courage to keep going. You can't steer a parked car. Movement is what allows you to adjust your course along the way. Fear is another reason people put off starting. They're afraid of failing, of being judged, or of not living up to their own expectations. But fear doesn't go away while you sit still. It grows stronger. The only way to weaken fear is to act in spite of it. When you take action, you realize that most of the things you were afraid of weren't as big as they seemed, and you build the resilience to handle the challenges that do arise. Waiting often feels safe, but it's actually risky. Every day you delay is a day you lose, a day of potential growth, opportunity, and progress you can never get back. Opportunities have an expiration date. The conditions you see today might not be there tomorrow. The people who could help you now might move on. The market you want to enter could shift. Starting now gives you the best chance to take advantage of the present moment before it slips away. When you start now, you also give yourself more time to improve. Starting early means you have more room to make mistakes, learn from them, and refine your approach. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll likely find yourself rushed, stressed, and trying to skip steps just to catch up. Starting now allows you to grow steadily and intentionally instead of trying to sprint your way to success later. Another reason to start now is that action builds belief. Many people wait until they feel confident before starting, but confidence doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. The more you do, the more capable you feel. You start proving to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. This self-trust becomes a powerful motivator to keep going, and it only grows stronger the more you take action. Starting now also sends a message to yourself and others that you take your goals seriously. It shows commitment and urgency. People are more likely to support and invest in someone who is already in motion than in someone who is just talking about what they plan to do. Movement attracts attention, resources, and opportunities in a way that waiting never will. The reality is that starting doesn't have to mean doing everything at once. It might be one phone call, one page written, one habit changed, or $1 saved. These small beginnings might not seem like much, but they create a chain reaction. Each step leads to another, and before you know it, you're further along than you ever imagined. No one ever looks back and wishes they had started later. The regret always comes from waiting too long, from hesitating until the window of opportunity closed. The sooner you start, the sooner you can make progress, learn, and grow into the person capable of achieving what you want. Every day you delay is another day added to the journey, but every day you act is one step closer to the life you envision.